finest known, specializing in retirement portfolios through precious metals commodity investments. Information about Finest Known's gold investment program and other precious metal investments is available at 1-866-697-GOLD.
Hello and welcome to Wealth and Wisdom with the Market Guys. I'm James DeGiorgia.
And I'm Jeff Carbaz. On today's show, we're going to discuss food safety in America. Joining us here today is Keith Meeks. He is President and CEO of Global Food Technologies. Keith has been a driving force behind GFT since its inception in 2000. Under his guidance, GFT has assembled a solid management team, expanded the corporate presence in the U.S., and established GFT offices in South America and Asia, as well as developed a strategic relationship in the United Kingdom. We also have Aaron Orman, Director of Science at GFT. Aaron has an extensive educational foundation, pulling from disciplines in biology and microbiology, and joined GFT as part of its laboratory team. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I'm really excited about this show because I think it's really topical and it's addressing a problem that's growing. You know, since the conclusion of the Second World War, it's been part of the American dream to open up the world economy and, you know, promote trade cross-border. And, you know, a big part of that is feeding the world and feeding ourselves. And in recent months, you know, there have been headlines about, you know, food safety coming in the United States and going out. And it seems here that you've struck on a pretty good way of guaranteeing purity in food.
Yes, we have. The problem really has been there all along. It's just been the last couple of years that it's really hit the mainstream media. You know, last year to food regulators will be known as the year of the food recall. There's over 20 bills in Congress right now to protect Americans and to protect our food supply from foodborne illnesses for very good reasons.
So how did you guys get started on this? I mean, who came up with the idea? How did it evolve? Why don't you give us a little bit of background on the company?
Well, we started in the year 2000 with research and development, trying to determine ways to rid the proteins, seafood, meat, and poultry, from foodborne illnesses. And we've developed a number of prototypes in Pocatello, Idaho, and we've recently completed research and development, and we're now moving into the commercialization stage.
So, to be clear, you're a company that's not public, it's a private company, it's a startup, which I think is really exciting. And the unique selling proposition is that you're going to provide a process by which food is going to be vacuum wrapped and or exported or imported with your label in order to identify that the food is pure.
That's right.
And free of any antibodies or any biological problems.
Mm-hmm. That's right. We really have a different business model than any other company we've run across. With our iPura program, we put our own people on site at the food processing facility to make sure that we can control the entire environment all the way from feed to final product.
So you go to the food suppliers and you sell, for instance, an exporter of fish or poultry, your process, so that when they wrap it for shipment, it has your label on it, much like a Chiquita banana is labeled, or you know, green food is being identified as being completely organic. Your label, you hope, will become a universal symbol of purity.
Yeah, that's true. We expect the iPura label to signify the cleanest and safest food in the world, and that's because of the extraordinary controls that we put on site with our food safety team, our microbiologists, and our extraordinary antimicrobial interventions that go along with the program.
Who are her competitors in your space? I think I'm familiar with a company, Biorad, which does something similar in this space a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. Biorad is testing technologies.
Okay, so they're more a tester.
They're someone we actually would use supplies from as testing techniques,
okay.
Yes. You know, there's different ozone applications, there's different UV applications that are all touting food safety. Most of these are indirect, though, not directly onto the food itself. but for example used as a water treatment to come in, which is very significant. You don't want to add additional bacterial loads onto your product by what comes into the water. But as far as directly onto the food, you're really looking at, there are some ozone systems out there, the traditional chlorine baths are what are used in the industry, and not very effective, a lot of negative health connotations with chlorine, and so that's really the niche that we've carved out as something that's organic, environmentally friendly, extremely effective.
I presume you guys have spent a lot of time doing patent research, et cetera,
Of course,
to protect your competitive advantage.
Sure.
Is this a costly process for a food manufacturer or exporter to employ?
Our business model is such that we provide the equipment, the labor, the on-site food safety team, and we charge cents per pound for making the product clean and safe and for putting the iPura label on top of the product.
So you have reoccurring revenue. It's not that you're just selling the equipment to accomplish the goal. You actually have your people on staff at a large exporting food company that's going to mean royalties for the company
So
going
service
forward.
fee model.
That's
Correct.
right, recurring revenue.
And I guess begs the question is, how successful have you been in signing up manufacturers so far?
Well, we've went down the path of least resistance. The seafood industry is known as the leading cause of foodborne illnesses worldwide, and the U.S. imports 85% of its seafood consumption. So we went to the sources, China, Vietnam, Chile, and we're bringing on processors in Portomont, Chile, in the Ho Chi Minh region, Mekong region of Vietnam, and in the Hainan Island region of China. And China will be a very big customer for Global Food Technologies. They produce a third of the seafood of the entire world and produce about 35% of the seafood that comes into the U.S. So there's a big need there.
How much cooperation are you getting from the governments? For instance, in China, it's well known that you have to have a Chinese partner in order to do business. Is that something you've had to do?
Well, China's an interesting situation. They understand the black eye that they've received with the Western media, and they know they need to do something about it. So we've received nothing but help from the Processing Association. We signed a memorandum of cooperation with the CIQA, which is the FDA equivalent in China. We were the keynote speakers at the China International Food Safety Summit in September of 2007, and we have developed a very strong relationship with the Chinese government and the people that are most concerned about food safety at that level.
Are there any tax credits from either foreign countries or from the United States that have been designed to kind of encourage this type of business model?
Not really, but there's enough interest and enough upside, to raise your level of food safety without any tax credits. So people are very interested in food safety. A poll of U.S. food safety executives last year ranked food safety at the top of the list. 85% of those respondents said the food safety